Live from somewhere you're not, it's KPBC News. With your lead anchor, Anchor Cat. Greetings, I'm Anchor Cat, and these are the stories we want you to know about. In our lead story, Larry God Shumway told Heavenly Reporters today during his weekly press conference that, after giving it much consideration and speaking about the matter with his son and Holy Trinity Incorporated Vice President, Jesus Hubert Christ, it's perfectly acceptable to pray that bigots like Matt Walsh die. We have audio of the press conference to share with you now.
It sounds harsh at first, maybe, but if you think about it, someone like Matt professes publicly that he can't wait till he meets his maker. Which is me. So in essence, if you pray for someone like him to die, aren't you just kind of praying that he'll get what he wants so badly? In our memories, we couldn't ever think of a time where we punish someone for praying that another person gets what they want. That's the definition of unselfish in our book. You, might have heard of it? The Bible?
Folks, we interrupt this story to bring you some breaking news. We can confirm for you now, at this time, according to several sources in extremely close proximity to the situation, that Stephen Miller, former White House racism advisor, is still a bald Nazi cunt whistle. Should the situation change, we'll update our viewers. Now let's check in with Austin Sleet at the weather desk. Austin, how's Hurricane Chad looking at the moment? Should the residents of Bacon Falls, Georgia be as worried now as they were, say, 24 hours ago when Chad first started to look like he was going to make landfall there?
Anchor Cat, Hurricane Chad is admittedly not the story that I've been following most closely. I do apologize.
Oh? I'm sure it's fine, Austin. You're an award-winning local meteorologist. If you think there's a more important weather-related story than a Category 5 hurricane hitting a small town in Montana, then by all means let us all know what the story is. We trust your professional judgment.
Well, on second thought.
No, really, Austin. We trust you.
It's the restraining order that my ex put on me for hiring a witch and cursing her small town in Arizona with bad weather for an entire year. And now there's like this whole lawsuit that she's filed against me because I may have defamed her on several local internet message boards, but...
Oh, I see. Austin, I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but I'm afraid we're actually getting some more breaking news. With 100% certainty, KPBC News can confirm that Joe Biden is still Donald Trump's president. We've reached out to MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell, Arizona not Governor Carrie Lake, and the crack dealer they all share with Marjorie Taylor Greene for comment, and we will update you when we have anything new on this to report. It's time to check in with Fritz Franklin with the Daily Stock Report. Fritz, what did Wall Street look like today?
A bunch of tall buildings full of overpaid, underworked, narcissistic cokeheads blissfully unaware of the impact of their daily decision to be walking, talking cliches from 40 years ago on average Americans' ability to buy bread. Back to you, Anchor Cat.
Thanks, Fritz. Authorities in Richmond Falls, Arizona are saying at this hour that they are quite amazed nobody was hurt when 3 separate buses carrying members of 3 different American cults ran into each other on Highway 834 earlier this morning. According to first responders, all of the occupants of the buses easily put aside their differences despite belonging to different cults and worked together to ensure that no one was injured prior to medics arriving on the scene. We've reached out to media representatives from each cult and will let you know when the First Southern Baptist Church of Richmond Falls, the Donald Trump campaign, or the police union get back to us. Now let's talk to attorney Tommy Pantsniffer. Tommy, we wanted to bring you in to discuss the new development in author E. Jean Carroll's defamation suit against former President Donald Trump. She recently amended her suit because during his CNN Clan Hall meeting, Trump once more verbally assailed Carroll, libeling and defaming her yet again. Many viewers have written in asking for us to ask you if there's any point in time where Ms. Carroll won't be able to amend her suit and get more money out of Trump.
Yes, most definitely.
And when exactly is that, legally speaking?
When he shuts the fuck up and stops talking shit about her like a big-mouthed rapey bully.
When he dies?
Yeah, basically. You could have been a lawyer, Anchor Cat.
Thanks for coming in, Tommy. We'll take a break and be right back after this. Have you ever wanted to rub shoulders with Hollywood movie stars and music icons, but weren't sure which human rights violating self-evident tax shelter of a cult to join? Well, don't ask us about any of that. Why would we know about any of that stuff, guys? Sheesh. Wink. Paid for by the Committee of Comedians who want to point stuff out but not get sued by overly litigious bags of human excrement.
Have you ever been in this situation? You knew you had this bill to pay. You even set yourself a reminder on your phone to pay it, but you still forgot to pay it. And now you don't have any working indoor plumbing until you pay the water company. But luckily for you, and the literally billions of other losers on this planet just like you, the fine people at Chemtech have developed Wipe It All, the drug you can take when you want to forget about being a loser for a few minutes. And the best part? Wipe It All is only a penny a pill. We don't need to charge that much because we know how many losers there are and how many times a day losers do stuff they want to forget about. So ask your doctor if Wipe It All is Ripe It All. Get it? For you today. Side effects may include permanent memory paralysis and/or uncomfortable farting. Don't take Wipe It All if you're living or plan to live for at least the next 20 to 30 weeks.
Look, Guy, all I'm saying is that agree or disagree with his objectives, you come off a little obsessed with George Soros is all.
Aw, well, excuse me for being so fired up about the man who literally ruined my life.
George Soros ruined your life.
Of course he did. You know, my wife ain't even slept with me for 6 months because she says I can't even remotely make her come, so what's the point?
Okay.
And you know who's to blame for that? George Soros.
Are you sure? I mean,
And my one single solitary black friend in the world, the day after I show him my Confederate flag collection, he stops returning my calls and hanging out with me. You know who's to blame for that? George M.F. Soros.
but your black friend saw your collection before he stopped talking to you?
Yup, and here I thought he was one of the good ones too, you know? You know, like Ben Carson, or the other one who looks a lot like Ben Carson, or... Honest to God, they all look kind of like the same to me.
Well, I'm sorry that George Soros somehow convinced your friend that you're maybe a little bit racist for being proud about a racist fly to identify each other as a safe space, Guy.
Thank you. That's all I've been looking for this whole time. Just a little sympathy.
Welcome back. This morning, congressional representative and professional equine impersonator Marjorie Taylor Greene filed articles of impeachment. Considering that Ms. Greene has already filed dozens of such articles, the fact that she filed another batch of them isn't what's newsworthy. It's who she's trying to impeach, or rather what she's trying to impeach, that is making the headlines. We take you out to Bert Thompson now, who was at the press conference Greene held, announcing her latest spate of impeachment articles. Bert. Yes, hello, Anchor Cat. A couple of hours ago, right here on these steps, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene announced that she was officially bringing articles of impeachment against the United States Constitution. We have video from Ms. Greene's presser and had our translation team ensure our subtitles are as accurate as possible for our viewers at home who might not speak Horsian. Constitutional scholars I've talked to tell us that if she got her way, Greene would effectively put herself out of a job, since the Constitution is what gives her her power. When we asked Greene's congressional office about that fact, we were told that without her congressional salary, Ms. Greene will be fine because if she wins even one of the Triple Crown races this year, her prize money will more than make up for any congressional salary that was lost. From Washington, D.C., I'm Bert Thompson. Back to you, Anchor Cat. Jesus Hubert Christ told heavenly reporters that he thinks people who give money to the man who murdered an unhoused man in a New York subway by choking him to death while being filmed doing so are, quote, extremely confused about Christianity. Christ said that for people who claim to follow the Ten Commandments, giving money to someone who violated one of the most famous commandments seems, quote, stupid and lame as shit, unquote. We'll have a full interview with Christ this weekend and get his full thoughts on this subject. Turning now to our criminal justice beat, Special Counsel John Durham released the results of his investigation, which many pro-MAGA Americans believed would sink Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and several others. Instead, however, it seems that the main conclusion of the Durham report is that Donald Trump's balls don't taste nearly as bad as many people assume they do, though it did also find that Trump is a little bitch. On this weekend's Politics podcast, I'll talk to 6 Democrats and 6 Republicans about their feelings on the Durham report and the taste and scent of Trump's testicles, or at least the raisins in a dried up leather pouch he calls testicles. It's time to take a quick station break, and we'll be right back with more news. Hi kids, it's me, your old pal Fred Gordon, and I wanted to remind you all that everyone in this country has a right to believe whatever it is they want to, whether it's believing that tax cuts for the wealthy trickle down to the poor and create jobs, there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, some dork who couldn't win the popular vote either time he ran actually did win in 2020, or that burning bushes talk and there was a literal son of God who walked among us. People should be free to believe and think whatever they want to, because mocking them for it only makes it that much better when they won't keep their opinions to themselves. And now you know, kids. This is a message from the Montana state government, reminding every resident of the Big Sky State that recently we decided which apps you should have access to for you, and TikTok is now officially banned in Montana. We wanted to remind you that it's because we're afraid of young people in large groups, not because we want to control what you see and hear. Well, to be perfectly frank, we do want to control what you see and hear, but mainly it's that whole scared of what young people think should happen in the world they'll inhabit after we die thing. So remember, delete TikTok today, but also don't forget that the state of Montana also offers you a special $100 stipend if you download Truth Social and post about how much you love Donald Trump and Republicans. Your government thanks you.
Did you recently purchase a firearm because it promised to both grow the size of your genitals and provide superior home defense, only to find yourself with a mangled, bloody stump because one night you got drunk, took that penis pump action shotgun into the backyard and decided to fire off a few rounds and a load? Then call me, attorney Barry M. Larker at 1-888-LARK-LAW. You may be entitled to special financial compensation, and I can even put you in touch with my cousin who's going through plastic surgery school right now and one day will probably be able to make your dong look... No, it'll still look terrible, but you'll have a lot more money. Thanks to me.
Welcome back. Recently, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis put on his big boy go-go boots and announced that he was going to challenge former President Donald Trump for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination. What made DeSantis' announcement so unique is that he did it during an interview with Twitter CEO and billionaire hair plug recipient Elon Musk. According to Michael McShamus, a historian we talked to, this marks the first time that two assholes nobody wants to be president have been this close together since Marjorie Taylor Greene shared a bus seat with Lauren Boebert. Next, down in hell, Satan responded to questions from reporters about whether he has business ties with retail giant Target. Social media has been full of angry conservatives vandalizing Target displays for LGBTQ Pride Month, and as a result, Target executives announced that they'd be scaling back some of the merchandise offered at their stores as a result. In a statement written on the soles of sinners with a pen that writes in ink made from angel tears, Satan denied having any deals with Target, but said if he had, it certainly would not have been because Target was promoting tolerance and acceptance, two things Jesus Christ taught, but Satan hates. The devil said he'd be more inclined to work with Target because they're such a wealthy company that still pays its workforce in slave wages. Next, Target has announced that they are making additional changes to the merchandise offered in their retail locations after continued backlash from anti-LGBTQ Christian American conservatives. Over the past several days, upset evangelicals have recorded themselves vandalizing displays put out by Target in honor of Pride Month, which offends white Christians because all they care about is white Pride Year. After conservative media figures like Ben Shapiro and Matt Don't Look at My Browser History, Please Oh Dear God Don't Look at It Walsh attacked Target for carrying Pride-themed items, the decision was made to remove some of the displays and more controversial items. However, when angry Christians continued to vandalize their stores, Target executives decided some more changes were needed. Let's take you out to Minnesota, where reporter Gary Glenda the Good Witch has an update for us on this story. Gary?
Anchor Cat, just moments ago, I was told by a Target executive that they've decided, in response to the continued issues at their stores regarding conservatives and LGBTQ merchandise, all pacifiers and diapers will be moved into the same section where Target puts hunting gear and beef jerky, hoping to entice pro-MAGA customers into entering that section, leaving the Pride theme areas alone. I spoke to John Jackson, a Target executive, about this development.
At the end of the day, we realized that maybe they were sad that they couldn't find their binkies and their diapies and that they were lashing out at merchandise they didn't like, instead of asking one of our associates where they might find pacifiers and diapers. Now, they should be able to find those things when they come into our stores looking for ammunition for their rifles or beef jerky.
Mr. Jackson told me that the diapers and pacifiers will be moved in all Target locations by the end of the quarter. From Minnesota, this is Gary Glenda the Good Witch. Back to you, Anchor Cat.
Thanks, Gary. And now we take you out to Hobart Springs, California. A man there has just filed a restraining order against conservative commentator Matt Walsh. But he didn't file the restraining order for himself. He filed it on behalf of his 12-year-old son and his 12-year-old son's genitals. Reporter Stu Stewart has the story for us. Stu? Hi, Anchor Cat. I just got done interviewing local Hobart Springsian Chad Beefington, and Chad told me that last week he felt compelled to ask a judge to approve a restraining order that will force Matt Walsh to keep Beefington's son's genitals out of his mouth.
Stu, the thing is, I'm not a bigot. I don't care what your religious beliefs are. You can believe whatever kooky, made-up, whack bullshit you want. It's just, when it starts to impact my life, I get a little irritated. And you know what? It's a little irritating how creepy Matt Walsh is because he can't keep my son's dicks out of his mouth. To be fair, he can't keep anyone's son's dicks out of their mouths. And, that's why we're here today. Because I hit my personal breaking point. And I just want Matt Walsh to take my son's dicks out of his mouth. And his mind, too. So hopefully that's what the restraining order does. You know what I mean?
Mr. Beefington told me he expects to hear back early next week about whether the judge in his case has approved the restraining order. From Hobart Springs, back to you, Anchor Cat. Hi kids, it's me, your old pal Fred, and I just wanted to talk to you all about cancel culture again. I know we already covered last time that it's not really a thing because it's just called consequences and no one can be canceled out of existence. But I wanted to talk to you about whether our fun little fascist friends in the MAGA movement actually hate cancel culture like they claim to, or if they really, truly, deep down, love it. Well, our red hat wearing pals down the street actually love cancel culture. That is, as long as they're canceling stores that sell stuff with rainbows on it, or beer companies that acknowledge our LGBTQ friends have a right to exist. So the next time someone tells you that they hate cancel culture, offer them a Bud Light and a ride to Target, and you'll find out who they are faster than ripping their white hoods off. See you next time, friends!
Republicans in Alabama claim to be small government conservatives, but always seem to find a way to make that government small enough to fit inside your bedroom or even bathroom if they can't stop thinking about your junk. But I have to wonder if they've gone so far that even their own base will abandon them. Because last night they passed a bill through their lower house of their state legislature that would make it illegal to think about your sister sexually. Not only does this pose a threat to Alabama's budding online dating industry, it could put a chill over every family reunion key party held in the Yellowhammer state, which I have to think would anger enough Republican voters to revolt, but you just never know these days.
I have to say, I'm really alarmed about what Republicans in Alabama are doing. As a conservative, I'm sorry, folks, but I'm worried. They've got a bill that could be law very soon that outlaws thinking about your sister sexually, and I gotta say, I'm really concerned about this bill. It probably doesn't go far enough. Look, first above off, notice how the libs are smearing the bill by not mentioning that the text clearly states existing incestuous marriages are grandfathered, or in this case, stepfathered in. So that means the overwhelming majority of marriages in Alabama would not be affected at all by this law. Next above off, notice how they don't tell you that it's only thinking about having sex with your sister without getting permission first from the state's uterine control agency and the birthing patrol of Alabama first. Once they give you the green light, it's game on. Just another day in the lamestream media lying to the good patriots of this wonderful Christo-fascist dystopia. It's time to head out to the floppy dong state, where one high school teacher is in some interesting hot water. Reporter Kevin Bakobitz has the story for us. Kevin?
Anchor Cat, I'm here at Robert E. Lee High School in Summerville, Florida. And some parents here are trying to get the school board to fire Mr. Mark Chevron for showing his film history elective class a short clip of the 10 Commandments. I asked Mr. Chevron earlier today why the parents are coming after his job.
So from what my union reps are telling me, it's because I showed a movie in class that has source material that's based on the Holy Bible. And, if you've ever read that book, it's got scenes of sex, rape, lots of rape, violence, murder, genocide, slavery. It's some really dark, messed up stuff, really. And it was a progressive group of parents who actually filed the complaint against me. And some of my friends were like, man, your fellow libs are the ones that are going to cost you your career here in this state. Like, Doesn't that bother you? And I look at him and I go, no, man, because, if we got to break this spell of modern satanic panic somehow. And if my teaching credentials in this hellhole are what have to be used as the price to pay to make that happen, yeah, I'm okay with it. Besides, honestly, my wife and I are leaving this state as soon as we can because we have this funky little rule among us that we're not going to live in a state where I have more constitutional rights just because I happen to be born with a dingly-dangly shpeppa pepperoni between my legs. You know what I mean?
We told Mr. Chevron we'd stay in touch and provide our viewers with updates when we get them. Back to you, Anchor Cat.
Thanks, Kevin. Do keep us posted. It's time for sports with Fred Fritz. Frank, how's the local football team's chances looking so far?
Well, before this morning, I'd say that they were the best team on paper, maybe ever, and had a really good, legitimate shot at winning the big game this February.
What happened this morning?
Well, every player on the team actually just tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs and has been suspended for the rest of the season.
Wow, that sounds unprecedented.
It sure is. I spoke to Gavin Schitz-Willingham, the CEO of ChemMed, the company who owns the team, and he said he's shocked by this and has absolutely no idea how every player on his team ended up testing positive for the very same drugs his company makes. Coinky-dink.
ChemMed is still a major owner of this station, correct, Frank?
Yes, that is correct, Anchor Cat.
Then I, of course, see no reason to doubt Mr. Schitz-Willingham, and we probably can just close the book on this story and never cover it again. And that's going to wrap it up for tonight's broadcast. For everyone here at KPPC News, this is Anchor Cat wishing you as good a day as can be hoped for in an existence filled with pain, disappointment, heartache, and grief. Goodbye, everybody.
Welcome back to Popping It Up.
A is for apathy. That's the feeling, or really total lack of feeling, that we conservatives feel for poor people, minorities, LGBTQ people, or pretty much anyone who isn't directly related to us. Apathy!
Oh, excuse me. I didn't see you there. Probably because I have a condition that prevents me from seeing the little bitch faces who aren't in the a-hole right now trying our new double beef, triple nacho, western bacon gravy melt wraps. So if you want me to see you next time, get your pathetic ass into our restaurant, give us your money, and then eat this goddamned food. Idiot. The a-hole. What are you gonna do? Cry about it?